Hey there, I'm Paul Rabelais. I'm an estate planning attorney. I've helped people for the last 30 years get and keep their legal affairs in order, particularly people in Louisiana. So in this video, we're going to talk about when to use a corporate trustee. So I'm kind of in a good mood today for a couple of reasons. One, my Tigers won over the weekend. We're number 2 in the country. That's fantastic. The other reason I'm kind of excited is my second child, my second son, Taylor. He passed the bar and he got sworn in to the Louisiana State Bar Association today as a lawyer down in New Orleans. We went and saw him get sworn in by the Louisiana Supreme Court. So my 2 oldest are both now lawyers. My third son, he's doing a great job in his second year at Tulane Law School, so he'll be a lawyer. Where did I go wrong? Just kidding. So real proud of all the hard work my kids have put in. Okay, so in this video, it's when to use a corporate trustee. And let me narrow it down a little bit because there's lots of times where people designate trustees. What I'm not talking about here is the typical successor trustee designation of the avoid probate revocable living trust where mom and dad have 3 kids. They want to avoid probate. They designate a trustee to distribute the assets to the 3 children after mom and dad pass away. That's typically a child or one or more of the kids. And it's a very temporary position, just long enough to disperse the trust assets out of the trust of the 3 kids. But I'm not talking about that today. I'm talking about the trustee designation when you give or leave money, a lot of money, to a trust that's going to last for a long time. It may last for years, it may last for decades, it may last for generations. So and a few examples of that are, a parent says, I leave $1 million to my child in trust with all kinds of certain terms, or I leave $500,000 to each of my grandchildren in trust under certain terms, maybe because you feel like the grandchildren will never get a education or a head start because their parent passed away or can't handle money or isn't responsible. Or maybe this could apply to a circumstance where a parent or parents say, we leave our entire estate to a trust. So the kids don't get it all in a lump sum, and there's various reasons why parents might do that. Not real common, but comes up a lot. All right, so now you're having to designate a trustee that will handle money for a long period of time. Should you name a corporate trustee? Should you name an individual trustee? In this video, I'm going to address on kind of the case for the corporate trustee. In another video, I'll make the case for an individual trustee. So here's why corporate trustees should be used when you're making a trustee designation for a trust that will handle money for a very long time, maybe a lot of money. So the first reason to use a corporate trustee is really because of the corporate trustee's expertise. A corporate trustee, and by corporate trustee, all the large banks have trust departments, many of the large brokerage firms have trust companies. The public isn't aware of this. They don't see it a lot, but nonetheless, they have, there are these large corporate trustees, and they have the expertise to get the job done. They have the knowledge, they have the experience, they tend to stay abreast of all of the economic and tax environment. So they have the expertise to get the job done. Second reason to use a corporate trustee is their objectivity. In many trusts, it says, okay, this trust is set up for little Johnny, and the trustee has the discretion to spend the money on Johnny or give little Johnny money for Johnny's health, education, maintenance, and support. So a corporate trustee, may be more objective in making those principal distributions, more so perhaps than a family member or an individual who may not be able to match the objectivity of that corporate trustee. A third reason perhaps to use a corporate trustee is perhaps the investment experience. A corporate trustee will likely develop an investment strategy that takes well into account the present and future needs of the beneficiaries. So, corporate trustees, that's what they do, and that's what they do, all day, every day. And then a fourth reason to use a corporate trustee when designating a trustee as of a trust for money that's going to handle it for years is all of the accounting requirements. Trustees are required to file accountings, to prepare accountings, and deliver them on a timely basis to the beneficiaries, perhaps to the IRS. And those corporate trustees, they're all set up to be able to provide those accountings on a regular and timely basis to comply with all of the requirements that trustees are required to fulfill. So those are just a few of the reasons why corporate trustees. By the way, so that you can stay notified, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell that comes up right after that to really stay informed of these things. Those are a few of the reasons why corporate trustees should be considered when you're making those trustee designations, and because you're either giving or leaving a significant amount of money to a trust, and that trustee is going to have to fill that role perhaps for many years, perhaps decades, and perhaps for even generations. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of tell you my gut right now after doing this for 30 years. I think that corporate trustees are not designated, probably not designated often enough, for two reasons. One reason people don't like to designate corporate trustees is because they're just not familiar with them. They've never dealt with a corporate trustee. They don't know any corporate trustees. And because they're not familiar, then they're not going to, inject that into their estate planning program. The second reason I think people don't use corporate trustees is they're afraid of the cost. So, most of the people that we deal with, they're in their 60s, they're in their 70s, they're in their 80s. They were raised to be very frugal and save a penny when they can. When they hear corporate trustee, they think big fees. And so right, wrong, or indifferent, that just keeps people from designating corporate trustees. And yes, you could make an argument that whatever that corporate trustee fee is going to be made up through the investments and the savings on other expertise and accountings and other things that they do. But nonetheless, it is a factor that keeps people from designating corporate trustees. So is a corporate trustee right in every instance? Of course not. So in another video, I'm going to make the case for the individual trustee and go over when that might be appropriate. So you'll have to watch that video, compare the two, and then you can be in a position where you can start making an informed decision if you're in one of those circumstances where you feel like you want to give or leave some sum of money or some portion of your estate to a trust for the benefit of your loved ones, and that might make sense because of your particular and maybe unique family circumstances. So in the other video, we'll talk about make the case for the individual trustee. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the thumbs up, like button. I'm going to keep these things coming. I hope this helps. Share some comments below on your history, your thoughts on designating a trustee and whether that should be a corporate